Nehemiah chapter 4. I'd like to read from verse 7 to 11. Nehemiah chapter 4. We're going to be in Nehemiah for a little bit, so you can kind of put your bookmark right there. Move on. Chapter 4, verse 7 to 11. If you have it, say I'm there.
I'm there.
The scripture says, "But it came to pass that when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabians and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up and that the breaches began to be stopped, then they were very wroth and conspired all of them together to come and to fight against Jerusalem and to hinder it. Nevertheless, we made our prayer unto God and set a watch against them day and night because of them. And Judah said, the strength of the bearers of burdens is decayed, and there is much rubbish, so that we are not able to build the wall. And our adversary said, they shall not know, neither see, till we come in the midst among them and slay them and cause the work to cease." We read a couple of verses. "And it came to pass that when the Jews which dwelt by them came, they said unto us 10 times, From all places whence you shall return unto us, they will be upon you. Therefore set I in the lower places behind the wall, and on the higher places I even set the people after their families with their swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked and rose up and said unto the nobles, and to the rulers, and to the rest of the people, Be not ye afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons, and your daughters, your wives, and your house."
Hallelujah.
And Lord has blessings in the reading, hearing, and preaching of His holy word. Amen?
Hallelujah.
Amen. We want a relevant word for today and what you're going through. Amen?
Thank
And what
you.
we as the church are going through. Amen.
Amen.
Thank God. So I want to talk to you today from the subject, there will be opposition, but trust God.
Hallelujah.
There will be opposition, but trust God. Okay?
Amen. Thank you, Lord.
This story deals with two characters in Nehemiah who were in opposition to Nehemiah, Sanballat and Tobiah. And the commentator, know that I don't go real heavy in the commentator's notes, but I thought that this would be good for you to kind of understand the context of the words of that. So I want to read this to you. It says, as progress on the wall of Jerusalem moved forward, Nehemiah faced increasing opposition. Major opponents emerged. The Babylonians had killed or deported many of the best and brightest of the Jews during the capture of Jerusalem, leaving behind the poorest and least capable. The region inevitably became dominated by thugs such as Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem. The Persians maintained order through these bureaucrats who did little to redevelop the territory. Jerusalem and its surrounding districts resembled blighted cities and towns where slumlords and petty politicians conspired to keep residents powerless and poor. Then Nehemiah entered the scene. Unexpected and uninvited, he represented change imposed from the outside. His bold plan to rebuild the wall offered long-term benefits to the community and threatened the immediate interests of local bosses. It is no surprise that these bullies became angry. Nehemiah's reforms infuriated oppressors who had devised ways to exploit their neighbors. People who live in neglected communities often resent those who have left them behind, those who oppress them, and those who fail to protect them. When an outsider shows up with plans and promises for a new way of life, resentment may boil over into hostility and violence. But Nehemiah shows us how to work with people, adversaries as well as advocates, to effect lasting and beneficial change. So he gives us a synopsis of chapter 4 and the general temperature of what was going on during that time. One of the things that jumps right off the page is the fact that Nehemiah was trying to rebuild the wall, but he immediately got some opposition right off the bat. Verse 7 says, "But it came to pass that when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabians and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up and that the breaches began to be stopped, then they were very wroth." Wroth means angry. Extremely angry that they were trying to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. So good intentions will not be overlooked. Not by the supporters, nor from the detractors. In other words, when you set out, when I set out, when all of us set out to do something good, with good intentions, you got to understand that there are people who are on your side who notice it, and there are people who are against you who notice it. Don't ever think you're going to go through this life with no opposition, church. There's always going to be somebody against you. When you try to turn your life around, you're going to find somebody that's going to have something to say about you. They're going to say, "Oh, now you all holy, you think you all this, you all that." All you're trying to do is get right with God, right? All you're trying to do. And somebody always got something to say. And then you got the folks who are encouraging, telling you, keep on going, keep your eyes on the prize, keep your hand in the master's hand. They tell you all this stuff, right? And so you always got some good and some bad. Somebody always will say something. Whatever we do, we have to understand that everybody is not on your side. Yeah, that can even dive into families sometime, right?
Yes.
I mean, families are tricky. You can't choose your family, you just got it, right? But sometimes they're not even on your side. Right? Sometimes they don't even want to see you succeed. They get jealous because of what God is doing in your life. And they get mad because the Lord, they were okay when you didn't have nothing. And things were going bad. Right? And in their mind, they were saying, "Oh, she must have did something bad, or he must have did something bad. Lord, punishment."